There are moments in life when we look into the mirror and realize we've spent too long trying to please others. We forget our own dreams, silence the voice inside us, and lose who we are just to earn empty approval. If today you feel tired, drained, and unsure of who you've become, stop. This is the moment to rise. This is the moment to return to yourself. Not tomorrow. Not when things get better. Right now. There was a boy. He always sat in the last row, quiet, like a leaf at the edge of autumn, holding on just a little longer. People laughed at him because he was not like them. He did not chase noise. He did not need attention. He did not worship the things everyone else called important. He listened more than he spoke. He observed more than he reacted. And while others rushed to belong, he chose to simply be. One day someone told him he was weak, too soft, too gentle, too quiet for this loud world. But he only smiled, a small, calm, unshaken smile, because he understood something most of them did not. People speak loudly when they are terrified of their own silence. They shout to drown out the noise inside their own hearts. They mock others to escape the emptiness within themselves. He knew his quiet was not weakness. It was strength waiting for the right moment. It was still water deep enough to hold storms. And while they fought to be seen, he learned to see deeply. While they rushed toward the world, he walked toward himself. He was not lost. He was simply moving at a different pace. The pace of someone who refuses to trade their soul just to fit in. Sometimes, the quiet ones are not the ones who break. They are the ones who rise. He grew in silence. Not the peaceful kind, but the kind that hurts before it heals. There were nights when the world outside slept, and his thoughts stayed awake, heavy and loud in the quiet of his room. He learned to cry without tears, to break without leaving a sound, to carry storms in his chest while the world saw only calm skies. No one taught him these things. Life did. Pain did. He discovered that not every smile is sincere, that some hands reach out only to take, that some hearts love you only when you bend to fit their shape. So he learned to walk away, not because he stopped caring, but because he finally cared for himself. He learned that distance is sometimes protection, that silence is sometimes wisdom. He stopped explaining himself to those who were never listening, stopped proving his worth to those who were never looking. And in that quiet separation, something within him began to shift. The boy who was once afraid to lose people learned a truth most never learn. Not everyone you love is meant to stay. Not everyone you trust deserves your heart. Some people are lessons. Sacred, painful, necessary lessons. He didn't become colder. He became clearer. And clarity is the beginning of becoming who you were always meant to be. Then came a day that did not look special to anyone else. But to him, it was the day everything changed. No lightning, no applause, no grand awakening. Just a quiet decision, made deep inside the place no one could see. He decided he would no longer shrink to make others comfortable. He decided he would no longer chase what dimmed his own light. He decided to return to himself. He started small, as all real change does. He woke up earlier, breathed slower, listened to his heart before listening to the world. He wrote down his dreams again. Dreams he had once abandoned because someone laughed. He moved with intention, not urgency. with depth, not noise. And for the first time, he realized something powerful. Growth does not need an audience. Healing does not need permission. The seed does not ask the forest if it may grow. It simply grows, slow, quiet, steady, and people noticed. Not because he tried to be noticed, but because light cannot hide itself forever. The same ones who once mocked his silence began to wonder where his strength came from. They did not know that strength is born in the unseen battles. In the nights he stood alone. In the mornings he chose himself again and again. He was no longer the boy who sat in the last row. He was becoming the man who would lead without ever needing to shout. When he stepped into the world again, he did not wear armor, but he did not walk blindly anymore. He met many faces, many voices, many smiles, but he had learned that not every smile is a welcome, and not every hand is a home. So he did not judge by words. He paid attention to the small things, the pauses, the tone, the way people act when no one is watching. And when he wanted to know someone's heart, he did not ask complicated questions. He asked three, simple, but impossible to fake. He asked, "If I trusted you with my greatest weakness, what would you do?" Some would flinch, some would smirk, but the kind-hearted would soften. Because real loyalty protects. He asked, "If I succeeded, if I rose higher than you, what would you feel?" The jealous eyes always looked away, but the true ones, their eyes lit up, as though his victory was theirs too. And finally he asked, "If I ever hurt you without meaning to, would you leave? Or would you stay long enough to understand?" Because love without patience is only attachment, and commitment without forgiveness is temporary. These three questions became his compass, not to judge others, but to guard his heart with grace. Because he had learned, the soul is too sacred to give to just anyone. And so, he walked forward, not faster than anyone, not louder, not for approval, but with a steadiness that can only come from knowing who you are and who you will never be again. He no longer feared being alone. He learned to enjoy his own company, the quiet morning light, the sound of his own breathing, the way his thoughts finally felt like home instead of a battlefield. He stopped looking for places to belong because he realized he was his own place. He understood now that peace has a cost, and that cost is letting go of those who cannot walk beside it. Some people drifted away, some doors closed, some chapters ended without a goodbye. But his heart did not break this time. It opened, because he finally understood, not everything lost is a loss. He built a life rooted in sincerity, in growth, in purpose. Not perfect, but real. He no longer needed the world to clap for him. He no longer needed to prove that his silence was strong. He simply lived, lightly, honestly, fully. And if you ever meet him someday, you will recognize him not by his words, but by his presence. Calm, steady, unmoved. A man who learned that the greatest journey is returning to yourself and choosing to stay. If this story touched something quiet inside you, the part of you that has always been waiting to be seen, heard, understood, then don't let the moment fade. Growth begins with reminders. Strength begins with reflection. And sometimes, all we need is a voice that speaks to the truth we already carry. Subscribe to Voice of Wisdom. Walk with us, learn with us, rise with us. Not to impress the world, but to return to yourself, again and again, until your soul feels like home.